Let's now get a clearer picture of how limited in-person classes will take place in less than 2 weeks. Joining us now is Education Assistant Secretary Malcolm Garma. Asek, maraming salamat po for joining us on The Final Word. Can you please clarify for us, for the 100 public schools that have been approved for this pilot run, and they will start face-to-face classes in a limited capacity by November 15, ano po ang grade na mga bata ang kasama dito?
Okay. First of all, Rico, good evening and good evening to your televiewers. So for the 100 public schools that we have already identified, so this will involve the kinder, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and senior high schools. So these are the grade levels that will be involved for the 100 public schools that we have already identified.
So when you say senior high school, Asek, is that grade 11 and 12?
Yes, grade 11 and 12, but we give preference, Rico, doon sa ating mga tech-book, because we all know that the tech-book would be entailing the use of workshops and laboratories. So ito yung uunahin natin among the senior high schools that will be starting on November 15.
Bakit ho hindi kasama ang announcement of the 20 private schools together with the 100 public schools? Bakit hindi ito sinabi? Bakit po pa ang announcement ng mga private schools, which are only 20, to next week?
As of today, Rico, we already have 57 applications or those who intended to participate dito sa pilot school natin. Medyo marami kasi sila, Rico, considering that we are getting only 3 nominees per region. So there's really a lot of time that will be devoted in evaluating, considering that among these schools, 20 lang yung pipiliin natin. So that's why there's a 1 week delay prior to the opening of the November 15 for the public schools.
So the private schools will be opening on November 22. When you say
Yes.
57 schools, private schools, are all of these 57 private schools interested to join the pilot run?
Yeah, basically these are those private schools that have already submitted their intention, and they submitted this through the regional offices that we have. And these are being evaluated by our private education office. 20 dyan ang mapipili natin to start for the private school.
So, Assistant Secretary, kasama po dito ang mga international schools? Because nakita po natin last week, some DepEd officials went to British School Manila and International School Manila in Taguig. Is there a possibility that the international schools will be included among the 20 private schools?
Rico, the international schools will be assigned of the 20 private schools. So on top of the 20, so we will be looking at the intention or application of the international schools in NCR or in other parts of the country.
And you mentioned senior high school, kasama dito sa pilot run for face-to-face classes. Are you encouraging the kids from 12 to 17 years old who will be attending these pilot run face-to-face classes to be vaccinated before they can attend classes?
No, Rico, that's not a requirement for them to join the pilot implementation. But of course, it's a very ideal situation if our senior high school students who will be participating in the pilot are already vaccinated. We presume that some of the students in the senior high school, especially in grade 12, who are already 18 years old by this year, have already been vaccinated. But that will be very ideal, Rico.
That will really be truly ideal. But are you also encouraging the Department of Health to ramp up the vaccination drive in the areas of these 120 public and private schools to get their students vaccinated?
We are in constant coordination with the Department of Health, and they are very much aware of the students or the schools that we will be starting with on November 15. So we will just be waiting for the final list of the students, and probably we can submit this to the Department of Health for a possible consideration that they can be considered to be one of the priorities for the 12 to 17 vaccination.
At pinag-uusapan rin na Assistant Secretary, no, ang second batch of schools that will be included in this pilot run. Kailan po ito mangyayari? Will it be immediately after the first batch of 120 schools start their pilot run?
The pilot study will be running for 2 months, Rico. No? So as soon as it can be less than 2 months if we get enough data already or information that we can submit already this report to the President. Then that will trigger the start of the second phase or the expansion phase, as we call it.
Maraming salamat po for all this information. Department of Education Assistant Secretary Malcolm Garma.